Today, a historic morning, a live look at the Capitol in Washington, D.C. as Americans get ready to vote in an election day. It is like no other. Today, U.S. voters deciding whether President Trump will receive a second term or if Democratic nominee Joe Biden will move to replace him in the White House. Both candidates have made their final pleas in a campaign run shadowed by the COVID pandemic.
And my message to you is simple. The power to change this country is in your hands. In your hands.
It puts much more pressure on me running against a guy like this, you know? If you lost to somebody that was good, can you imagine if the concept of losing to this guy?
Meantime, many U.S. businesses are preparing for the worst. After the most polarizing American election campaign in a generation, some business owners fear things could get violent once the results roll in, and that includes shops in New York seen boarding up some of their windows and doors, trying to protect their property. Meanwhile, the first votes in the election were cast early this morning in New Hampshire. Okay, the first votes cast in Dixville Notch shortly after the polling station opened after midnight this morning. This is located in the north part of the state, close to the Canadian border. With only 5 residents, the polls closed just 5 minutes after they opened when everyone had voted. The town folk take pride in being the first to vote. They've cast the first ballot of the election day for the last 60 years. All right, make sure you stay tuned with us throughout the morning. We will have continued coverage. We're also going to be hearing from Spencer Critchley. He's a Democratic campaign advisor. He's worked for both Barack Obama's campaigns, and that is coming up at 7:30, so stay tuned for that. All right, let's get you to some other news right now. A terror attack in Vienna, Austria has left 4 people dead, at least 17 people injured, including a police officer. And the attack happened around 8 last night, local time. People were dining outside before a pandemic lockdown went into place at midnight. Police have shot, killed the attacker. They are investigating now whether any others were involved. At a news conference this morning, authorities said the attacker was an ISIS sympathizer. Could not rule out that there were any more alleged attackers here. So we'll continue to follow this story. Let's bring you back home now, where mayors from across the GTHA are in favor of safely loosening restrictions in COVID-19 hotspots. This as the premier is expected to unveil a new tiered system, according to new reports. In a statement, 11 mayors from across the Greater Toronto and Hamilton area say they support the province's efforts for a new plan that would allow businesses such as gyms to reopen under the guidance of public health officials. The statement comes as new reports suggest Doug Ford will release details on a new system that would have clear criteria on when to impose closures and lockdowns. The tiered system would allow regions to add or remove restrictions if needed and would replace the current system of stages. 4 regions, including 3 in the Toronto area, were placed in the modified Stage 2 of the reopening plan earlier this month. Those measures are set to expire for Toronto, Peel, and Ottawa at the end of this week. Ontario's police watchdog is investigating a man's death after he fell from a bridge in the East End. Police called to the Don Valley Parkway overpass on Dundas East around 5 o'clock yesterday for a man in distress. The mobile crisis intervention team, they were on the scene about an hour later. Just before 10 last night, the province's Special Investigations Unit said in a tweet that the man had died. Now, the SIU investigates whenever a member of the public dies or is seriously injured when there's an interaction with police. No further information has been released. And to the education front now, teachers and staff members at a Scarborough elementary school are refusing to work amid a COVID-19 outbreak. Now, despite an outbreak being declared at Glamorgan Junior Public School, the school remains open, with health officials saying the virus is contained to one wing. And that prompted staff members to protest outside the school early yesterday morning, saying it should be closed. On Friday, 9 staff, 2 students were confirmed with the virus. Since then, 2 staff members have recovered. 58 students are now self-isolating. The Ministry of Labour says it has launched an investigation into the school. The virtual sentencing hearing for a Markham man who killed 4 of his family members has been rescheduled due to technical difficulties. 24-year-old Manhat Zamen has pled guilty to the murders of his mother, father, sister, and grandmother in July of 2019. The sentencing was supposed to take place at 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon, with the accused attending by Zoom from the East Correctional Detention Center. But audio problems could not be fixed. It's now been rescheduled to Friday afternoon. The murders come with an automatic life sentence, and both the defense and Crown are seeking no parole for 40 years.